Coach Deborah has a passion and purpose to assist young men, ages 15 to 24, to overcome obstacles and build their best lives. She wants to see every young man live out their potential. She has a master's degree in human services counseling, with a major in life coaching. More importantly, she is the mother of 3 boys, who are exceptional, educated, professional men. Coach Deborah believes it is better to train early, rather than need to fix later. She utilizes basic principles and God-led concepts. Sometimes the only thing a young man has is their credibility or their name. The actions they take are based on the decisions they make. Those decisions align with their choices and result in consequences. Coach Deborah can assist you if you are lost, floundering, or confused. Embrace the help and start building your best life today.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Coffee Chat, our first coffee chat of 2024.
Yes.
How are you doing, sis?
Sis, I'm doing well, and Happy New Year to you. So,
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Mm-hmm.
We are so excited to be here today because, you know, some people did not make it to 2024, so we are blessed and happy to be here and glad that you could join us.
Absolutely. It is a blessing to be here.
Yes. So we want to thank you for all of your support and making Build Your Best Life a priority on Thursdays. We just appreciate you so much. Letting us be a part of your Thursdays because you could be anywhere else. So thank you so much. Please continue to like, comment, and share because that helps our platform and help us to get around the world because we want to help young men everywhere, not just in the United States or Canada, or Africa, but everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, this year our theme is Blueprint for Success. Blueprint for Success. And this month we're talking about before the blueprint. You know, it's very essential to get out there and make sure that you know where you're going and you have a plan for that to get it done. But sometimes you have to make sure you're in a good place before you start doing anything. So, now, what are some of those things that you need to get done before the blueprint? And hello to Deacon Dan Smith and Deacon Henry Holmes. Thank you all for tuning in. So what we're going to talk about tonight on our coffee chat is developing skills. Developing skills. You know, you are born... you're born with talents. So God gives us all a talent. He doesn't give us all the same ones. We have different ones. And then when he gives us those talents, we still have to enhance them, keep them up to speed. Don't let them lay dormant because talents are a gift that, you know, again, we are born with. It comes naturally, but that doesn't mean, oh, I have this gift and I don't have to do anything. Mm-hmm. It can take that talent and make it out of a profession that you can walk in, be known for, or you can just let it lie dormant. And I always say in the graveyard, we have all these writers and poets and musicians. They took their talent with them. They never shared it with the world. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you have to train, become better and better and better. You can get a mentor or someone to walk alongside you and gain a formal education if you want to, that will also enhance that gift. But that is what the talent is all about. And what about those
Mhm.
skills, Carol?
Yeah. Well, just like you said, people take their skills and they work on them, and you become good at training and practice. And so both talent and skills are used to describe an aptitude for doing something. But some of the things that we want to look at tonight is you become good with training and practice. That's so important. So you must be willing to work on developing your skills and you work on your skills and develop your skills simply by doing a few things. For example, training. Training is so important. Training is important simply because it improves your skills, and it gives you knowledge, and it will drastically improve your productivity if you're trained. Sometimes we have to do some on the job training, but it's still an opportunity for you to learn and be able to become more productive at what you do. So we need training to complete the task, to get better understanding. And training also, when you do training, it really helps with your confidence and improve a positive, or it makes a positive impact. And then you mentioned education. And so education is so important, but we don't advocate that everybody got to go to a 4-year college. There's so many ways that we can get educated. But and many educated people learn skills through educate. Well, many people learn their skills through education. And sometimes you can even get a certification, but that's still another form of educating and get some education. But when you get that education, you become a better problem solver. You benefit society. And also, it improves literacy and develops effective habits and cognitive behavior. And it also helps you turn weakness into strength. And then the other one is practicing. Practice, we have heard that. Practice, practice, practice. And sometimes we've heard practice make perfect, but practice leads to progress. If you want progress, you have to practice at something. And it really helps increase our ability. When you practice something and you've done it over and over and over, it helps you be able to improve your ability to order information. If you practice it, if I'm a football mom, so on Mondays y'all gonna do strength training, and you're gonna go all in the circuit, and the circuits you need to do. But after a while, you don't have to really be so concerned because you become familiar with those things. But the best practice is deliberate practices. You deliberately practice something. And I say, people say practice makes perfect. But I think you got to know what you're practicing in order to make it perfect. So you don't just practice anything. You want to practice those perfect things that's going to make you better. And we know for a fact, all of us got our not basketball, but football and athletics and those kind of things, those sports. We got various sports we all like. And we love for the Super Bowl to happen. We love for the Sweet 16 to turn around. We love all those, but those people have to spend time practicing. It
That's
just
right.
doesn't happen overnight. So they spend skills and time and efforts, practicing. And so we have to make sure that we're practicing. And then you also, Deborah, we have coaching, and you're an excellent example of a coach. Why we need a coach, and a coach is there to help you, help you with maybe being able to help you set goals, help you set reasonable goals. And you talk about, being specific at the goals. The SMART goals is what we talked about on here before, but a coach can help you with that. Coach sometimes can see things that you don't see, and we both share the same coach, so we kind of familiar with how he's pointed out things that have assisted us in things that we're doing now. So the coach can help you grow, and he or she can give you clarity, vision, and directions. And so someone who works hard to improve their skills can become an expert as well as those who are born talented. But it takes all of these things: training, education, practicing, and sometimes we need to reach out and get us a coach.
All right. Sounds good. So everybody can be successful. You just got to take what you have, not worry about what somebody else have, and do your thing.
Right. Work with what's in your hand.
Yep. And I love this comment. Carol, see up on the screen, says hello to my two beautiful mothers. You know who that's from.
Hey, my sister. Hey, my brother. That's Kendra. That's my son. Yeah. Hey, son. Yes.
Yes. And hello, Agnes. Thank you for tuning in as well. So today, as we talk about developing skills, we're going to give you a couple of examples of people who are talented versus some of those people who have expertly developed skills in the same areas. So just to show you that, if you say it, I wasn't born with that talent, that doesn't mean that you can't shine and do just as well as that person that was born with a particular talent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, a couple of them I want to point out is, for example, in music, the musician John Legend, born, he has skill, but he had to work on those skills, and he came from a musically inclined family. His mother was a leader in the choir, and dad played the drums. And I think I read that some of the other family members were also musically inclined. But he took lots of various jobs and things to make sure that he was, as you say, honing in on his skills. He developed his skill as a singer and also a songwriter. And so I was looking at this, and it said that he also did some background work. So he had to go through some processes. He did some background work for Alicia Keys, and then Kanye West, he did some keyboard and backup vocals for him. So he had a skill, but he worked on his skill to get to where he is. And then talent, when I think about in the music field, is none other than, when he first came out, he was little Stevie Wonder. But he's a grown man now. So Stevie was known, or is known, to be a musical genius, born blind. But he plays multiple instruments, wrote music ahead of his time. He was just talented, born with that talent. And then they said at age 11, he had signed on with Motown. He was the youngest artist to ever have a top hit. And listen, he played the harmonica. When he first started out, I remember him with that harmonica, rocking his head and going on. But he played the harmonica, he played the drums, he played the piano. And they said he had an earlier group that he had started with, he and a friend. But he wrote many songs. And I love this about Stevie. At first, he was with Motown and some of the others, but eventually Stevie took care of his own business and began to, promote for himself. So
Right.
Huge person with talent in that industry. But also, when we think about politicians, Donald Trump was skilled. He wasn't born with a lot of talent to be a politician. We remember him from his TV. I think he had, what was that TV show he was on? The Apprentice or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. And he did that, but he really wasn't talented or skilled in being a politician. But he used privilege, money, popularity to become the president, but without any political knowledge, didn't have any back. Most of our presidents have gone to some type of law school, had some type of law background, and worked themselves up from senates and congressmen and those kind of things. But he did not have that. But Barack Obama, talented, very talented, majored talented and prepared to be in politics. He started out being a political science and law major. But I love this quote that I found on him. He said, "A life so blessed should be lived in service to others." Let me read that again. A life so blessed should be lived in service to others. And as we look at him and the things that he's done, he was talented. He took his talent and love of people and meshed it together and began to work passionately for the people in Chicago. He worked as a community organizer in Chicago. And in 1988, he enrolled in Harvard Law School and was the first Black president of Harvard Law Review. And of course, we know he was the first Black president of the United States and had an opportunity to serve 2 terms. So he was one. Barack Obama was a perfect example of born with the talent, but he went through the process, probably practicing and getting an education and training and all those things. And who knows, he probably had some coaches along the way to help him. But then also Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan worked hard with his skills that he had. He was always working on his skills to make himself better. But he also, in 1968, they said he tried out for his high school varsity team, but he was turned down, and he was a sophomore, turned down because they said he was too short. Yeah. But he didn't let that stop him. He continued to work, and we see where he is today. And then, of course, the late Kobe Bryant. He was very talented. He followed in his dad's footsteps. His dad was a player, Joe Bryant, former NBA player. But he started playing. Listen to this. He started playing at 3 years old, playing basketball. So he was talented. And so he had probably his dad was also assisting him since he played in there and just began to help him develop his skills. But he was talented, and Michael was skilled. And so both of them together, we see the accomplishment that they've made. And then, they were athletes. And so we see what taking your skills and moving them to the next level. But it takes hard work. It takes consistency. It takes you being deliberately dedicated to the skill that you're trying to enhance. And just like I said, someone who works hard to improve their skills can become an expert as well as those who are born talented. And so there are so many others. I'm sure we've all saw Color Purple. And I love Fantasia's story because I remember when she was, she won the American Idol, but even her talent now has moved her in another place where she is an actress. And so she didn't win anything, but she did a phenomenal job with acting in The Color Purple. And she's had an opportunity to enhance her talents and her skills to be able to act. So many others that we could begin to look at. And but we want to make sure that you know that it takes hard work. It takes you being deliberate. It takes you wanting to work hard, and you can be just as successful as a person who was born with those talents, or a person who just had skills and were able to make their, to be able to make or complete the job or complete the things that they had in mind or wanted to do. So yes, absolutely. All of those can work together if you put your mind to it.
Yes, you can do it. Mm-hmm. And I have one that I want to talk about. Okay. So just think for a moment, if you've ever been in a car and you hit some, I guess, black ice or puddle in the road or something happened and you look kind of temporarily, even if temporarily, lost control of your car. And how that felt, just the size of a car. Now, compare that to an airplane.
Mm.
A car is miniature when you think about the size of an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to talk about pilots. As a young
Mm.
man by the name of Darren Harrison, and he was not even a pilot. He was on an airplane. For
Mm.
whatever reason, the pilot became incapacitated. So what was going to happen? Was the plane just going to go down, or what? So this person, even though they weren't a pilot, they got into that seat, and by the help of the air traffic control operators, landed that plane.
Wow.
So it took some kind of skill. So, you take a Deborah Smith, I've got it there, and I probably would have been looking at the thing and trying to read, and they try to talk to me, and I'd be up there, nah, you can't talk to me while I'm reading because I can't understand. It took some special talent to be up there, probably afraid. You're trying to pray and you're trying to listen. But
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
they had some skills, some agility, they were able, not they, but Darren was able to land that plane. I know he hasn't been the only one, but in my research, I found him. I had never heard of him before, but he actually was able to land that plane. And so I will say that he did have some skill. He might not have ever thought about having skill as far as flying, but he had it. And
Wow.
to utilize it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm.
then I'm sure many of you have heard of, you probably just heard of Sully, but his name is Chesley Burnett Sullenberger III.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And he was the captain of that U.S. flight that I'll say he landed on the water. But
Mm-hmm.
that was just amazing. And I know the motion picture, they have a lot of special effects and everything. But when I watched that movie, I was like, fly that plane. That man flew that plane. But
Wow.
But Sully, he was always someone that had a pursuit of safety. So safety was always in his mind. But
Mm-hmm.
so I'm saying he was a pilot that was talented. So he always thought about safety first. He began to learn how to fly at age 16 while he was still in school.
Wow.
When he graduated school, he decided to go into the Air Force. And while he was in the Air Force, he became a fighter pilot. So I'm pretty sure he had some maneuvers and some things that he could do. But on January the 15th, 2009, if many of you have not heard about this, they were on this flight 1549. Everything was going fine. Weather is nice. It was cold, but I mean, it was a clear day, no problems. When all of a sudden they had a bird strike. So that means the birds were up there in the air minding their business, the plane minding its business, and they collided. Well, these birds caused both engines of the plane to go out. And so the plane was coming down. One way or the other, the plane was coming down. Well, Sully was too far to turn around to go back where he had come from. And there was no way he could get to an airport. He had a plane full of people. What was he going to do? Nobody thought he could do it, but with his skills, everybody thought he was crazy. And they even questioned him afterwards, how dare you land the plane in that water? It could have gone down, but he knew what he was doing. And so he didn't go nose down. He landed that plane on the water.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So it was amazing. They didn't lose anyone, if I'm not mistaken. But that, talent. And he had worked, so starting at age 16, but he continued to work on that talent that he had and saved, hundreds of people on that day in 2009. So as I stated, he was born with aptitude for safety. And now that he has retired, he's a well sought after public speaker, and he goes around talking about safety. Yeah. It's just
Wow.
amazing, you know, that we can be blessed with talents and we can just waste them. You know, we listen to Coach all the time talk about the talent that people have, and they don't want to invest in themselves to get better or find out how to pull those talents out and do something with it. But it's just amazing how you can waste your life and those talents if you don't try to do something with them and
Right.
skills.
Wow.
So, you know, so again, you know, whether you were skilled or you're talented, develop what you have and learn how to be the best you in utilizing what you have in order to build your best life. And the last one I'm going to talk about is writers. You know, writers, you think about writers, and I know there are some ghostwriters, but there are some excellent people that write for themselves, like Carol Crockett, Coach Ricardo. There's some great books out there. Brady Robinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some great books. But my favorite is, although it's what is it? Nonfiction. No, it's fiction. Oh, she writes fiction. I love her to death. And she just puts them out like this. And her books, I can sit down. I could actually sit down and don't go to bed and just read the whole thing. But I go through her books in less than a week. But she's a great writer. She puts out 4 or 5 books a year. But when you read her books, you can see different countries. You learn about different countries. You can imagine from the landscapes that she describes, the different jobs that people have, their talents and all that. You can just feel that you're living it, you're part of it. She's just so good. So she has that talent that because she continues to write, she just works on it all the time. And to me, she just gets better and better. And I've been reading her, I know it was before I retired. So I've probably been reading her books for 20, 30 years, but she is so good.
Wow.
You just have to take what, you know, God has given you. And like I said, hi, Maria, and not covet what somebody else have, you know, that talent that you have and work with it. So, you know, Carol, tell us some of the ways that you think someone that's a writer that you're already at the top of the charts or whatever, but, you know, how they can enhance.
Well, and you forgot to mention yourself as a writer too. Build your best life. That's a great book. So don't exclude yourself. And you talked about not being able to covet anyone else and be happy for others who's written the books or done something that you haven't done. But you know, you said we have, like you were saying, so many people have decided that either they don't want to enhance their skills or they don't want to invest in things. And we have to learn how to invest in ourselves. And one of the ways as far as improving your writing skills, you know, you have to learn new words. I always say, use that dictionary. Joyce Myers used to always say, when you're reading your Bible, read your Bible, but also read it with a dictionary next to it, because there's so many words that we may not know. And I always like to add, sometimes words that we don't know, if we look at it from a thesaurus, it will also help you get a better understanding of the words. But I know, Deborah, I hear you talk about doing puzzles and crossword puzzles and those kind of things. So all those are various ways to help you with your writing skills and to improve your vocabulary. But also keep up with the grammar and writing changes too, because as we know, English is so varied sometimes. And so things do change. And we do have to stay abreast of some of the grammar and writing skills. And also even making sure we got so much technology that make us have spell check and those kind of things, which is great. But it's still good to make sure that you know that you have those things that you want to keep up with. And so you keep up so you can become a better communicator. It helps you to be able to clearly and effectively communicate what you're trying to say when you keep up with those things. And I read this and they said sometimes the grammar and writing things are not always easy to learn. But like we started out talking about practicing, it's so important that you practice those things. So you can do that through reading, getting grammar books or manuals, and also just keep reviewing those basic grammar skills. And of course, practicing and listening to others talk. And like you were saying about the author that you follow all the time, just how she writes, looking at how she writes and looking how she pull you into where she is. And so there are so many things that we can do, and we can learn from just reading. That's so important. You may not ever be able to go to Alaska, but you can read about it and like you said, be able to see some of the things that are there, even if you never experience it. So fashion is another one that we can learn. Of course, we know how our fashion changes all the time, but also looking at the fashion can help you with writing skills, and looking at some of those fashion magazines. And we know technology is just constantly changing, and we have to stay abreast and have that cutting edge experience with technology. And don't be afraid to have some new adventures, whether you experience them in life or through a book. But you have to be able to look and see, and write about those experiences. Sometimes we just have to write some things down. And never forget, it's so important that we can go on popular vacations and learn about those places that we can go even before we go there. Kind of do your research about them so you can know. And you don't want to go anywhere and you haven't figured out some places you want to see and go to while you're there. So you don't want to waste a trip. But also looking at the who's who in music, acting, art, business, directing, high earnings, and those kind of things. There's so many ways that we can hone in on our writing skills and making sure that we're keeping abreast of what's going on. So many things that we can experience through reading, writing, and listening, and investing in ourselves and taking the time to do that. And of course, history is one of those things that we need to go back and look at and see how things have changed, and be able to look at the statistics and look at some of the dates and things that we know that have been significant for us. So being able to look back over history to see how far we've come or what's changed, and be able to make that comparison. So that's all I have on that one.
Oh, yeah, that's good. So, so we can see that again, just because you weren't born with that skill of writing, which, I know I wasn't, but because I've been exposed to different people, different things, then, like I say, I love to read, so I get exposed to a lot, and so it helps.
Yeah.
So, like again, knowing where you're going really, really helps you to get there. Back in the day, and probably most of you that's on here don't even remember when they had the paper maps and you had to get that. Saw your parents get the map out to try to find out how to go somewhere. But that's how they got where they were going. Now you can put the address or the place in your navigation system and get there. But you still need to know where you're going. You can't just say, I want to go to Atlanta and I want to go to this restaurant that serve the best shrimp in the city, because that might be a lot of places. You need to know exactly where you're going. So having that blueprint, and just like those knowing where you are going, to put in the exact address or the exact name of that restaurant, your blueprint, and having that down will show you and tell you exactly where you plan to go in life. Looking at those details, and will help you on your path.
Right.
Yep. So great job. I hope this topic information helped. Please make sure that you share it as we prepare to close out. And Kara's going to tell you about that great book and where you can get it and follow her.
Yes, thank you, Deborah. Yes, my book, and it's called you can see it, Watch Your Words by Carol Crockett, and you can follow me on Facebook. Also, get my book by Cash App, $ Carol Carol CROC, not the complete Crockett, and Zelle at 469-682-4857. And then I have a PayPal with the same phone number, 469-682-4857. And so you can follow me on Facebook with Watch Your Words with Carol Crockett. And I'm excited about my book. My mantra is, what you articulate, you activate. So we have to be careful with the words that we speak and the thoughts that we have, because they can create either something good or something that you didn't anticipate in your life. And so we know the Bible said there's life or death in the power of our tongue. So we have to make sure we're putting our tongue in the right place. So we want to get the life that we want to have.
Great. And I have had the opportunity to read it. It's a great book. So if you want to get your copy, if you don't have it. And please make sure that you follow our website, www.buildyourbestlife.org, where you can read the blog that comes out each Monday. Look at our calendar of events. We have started putting information out there about our 4 major events. The first one is going to be our Mother and Son Seminar, and that's starting May the 6th. So I'm getting excited about that. But also, I am a life coach. You can contact me to get a free consultation, get some sign up for some coaching sessions. I'm a speaker, webinar speaker, and I wrote a book, Build Your Best Life. It's about your life, your actions, and your credibility, overcoming your obstacles to build your best life. And so you want to do that, you can get an autographed copy. If you want the Kindle version, you can go to Amazon.com. But we thank you so much for tuning in on these second Thursdays for our coffee chat, because it's just 2 girlfriends sharing their coffee and giving you that information.
Exactly.
So please tune in this Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's time for Conversations with the Guys. And this Saturday, we're going to have, we have 4 regulars that we have, but this Saturday, we're going to have Coach Ricardo Miller, Deacon Dan Smith Jr., Kendrick Chisholm, and Derek Durden are going to be our guys with the conversation. And their topic is, why aren't young men attracted to church? So you want to join us Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward for some of you to come out. And this year at Build Your Best Life, we declare Jeremiah 29:11 over your lives. God knows the plans that he has for your life. He wants you to prosper, to have prosperity, not disaster, and the future that you hope for. So design your blueprint based on the plans that God has for you. Follow them and build your best life. Remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan. It's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe. See you soon. Not next month, but I see you soon, sis.
Okay. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.